Hello! Hello! What's going on, everybody? My mic was muted there for a minute. Alright. Well, it is time to get back to work on this character, which is our character for October. Spooky gal. She's gonna end up being a witch. I think, or at least I was thinking, that for this stream we could maybe focus in on the face a little bit. I'm not really sure if I like these proportions very much, and I probably won't be copying these too much, but our last reference, where is it? I have it over here. I have the full figure hiding down in the corner, but we're going to be using this just for, it's the same character, same 3D character. We're using that as a basic reference and then going off of that. But yeah, welcome everybody that's new, and for our returning friends, hope you guys are doing well today. I got my new tea today, got some green tea with ginseng, lemon or something? I don't know. I haven't even tried it yet. It's too hot. I'm gonna try it right now and probably burn my mouth. But yes. Ooh, that's actually pretty good. I was talking a lot last night, so my voice is not in the best shape, even kind of worse than normal. I was at a launch party for my friend's game, a game that he's been working on for quite a while. It's called Match Point. It's kind of like if Pong had gravity. It's on Steam. It's also on itch.io, I believe. But yeah, if you type in Match Point into Steam, that's probably the easiest way to find it. He finally launched this game. He's been working on it for like 3 years. Good friend of mine. And I know he would definitely appreciate it if you checked it out, and I would as well. Katie, what's going on? Welcome back. Things are good. I was just kind of talking about how my voice is dead. But yeah, at this party it was very loud, and I was trying to talk over music and an announcer because they did a tournament for the game. So all of that added up to me just destroying my voice, as per usual. We're going to be working on this head a little bit more today for those that are kind of just popping in here. And as I was saying, I don't really like the proportions that we have over here. So for now, I'm just keeping that up. I didn't have enough time to gather any references for the face or anything like that. So a lot of what I'm going to be doing is just experimental and going off of what I already know. And I'll somewhat use this for reference. It kind of looks very, I don't know what the word is. It's just kind of very doll-like. I don't think it's super appealing. Or it's not kind of the standard appeal that I typically aim for, at least. My stuff tends to be a little bit more Disney-esque, I would say, than this. But I don't know, maybe it gives us some room to experiment and try something new. So we'll see. We'll see how this goes. Like I said, a lot of experimenting today. Focus in on the head and face a little bit. I know that's something that's tough for a lot of you, and I think we'll be able to get some good info today out of this one. And Craig. How you doing, Craig? I did enjoy this summit. Yeah, I saw you in the chat a couple times there. It was a good time. Good time. A lot of cool presentations. For those that did watch the ZBrush summit, what was your favorite presentation? I just liked getting to see the Pixelogic presentation a lot, just because new features. I mean, I use the software every day. I want to see all the new stuff that's coming out as often as I can. So it's always cool to hear about that. Get to hear about the folders, the UV system that's coming in. It's going to be a plugin for ZBrush. There was definitely a lot of really cool stuff that I am super excited for. I don't know about you guys, but I've been waiting for folders for a very, very long time. I just hope that it's like a full, like just very robust system. I hope that they don't cut any corners and do anything in like kind of a ZBrush fashion, where we have to kind of jerry-rig everything together to make it work the way we need it to, which sometimes is the case. Time zones, never got to watch the whole thing. Yeah, definitely. I mean, not unless you don't want to sleep and don't want to work or do anything else for the entire day. Yeah, you definitely can't watch it all. Not live, at least. But it's on their YouTube channel. If you guys go to the YouTube Pixelogic channel, you'll be able to watch anything that you missed there, including a couple of my live streams that I've done on their channel. Mine should be on there too. Upgrading my house and network over the weekend. Cat 7 cable. I think, what is it, Cat 5, Cat 4? I don't remember. That was the standard, or maybe it was just 6. I don't really pay attention. I just buy that 100-foot Ethernet and go to town. Try to plane this out a little bit better on the side of the head. Try to get some of this curve. I don't have a lower subdiv than this. Meh. We'll make it work. Try to get a little bit of the ridge coming back here. So I'm kind of just experimenting, like I said. I know some more people are coming in, but some more people are coming in, so I kind of want to repeat what we're going to be doing today. Kind of looking at the face, not exactly going off of this as a guide or as a mark to hit, but kind of just as a guide. We'll see. I don't know. I'm not in love with it, this in the face region, but we'll play around and see what happens. Need to separate my jaw area from my my skull back here. Try to get a little bit of depth there between the separation. Yeah, it's going to be a free plugin. It will be very cool. You were sick with the flu? Yeah, I remember that. Hopefully you're feeling better by now. I was sick with like the stomach flu or something. I have no idea what was going on. I was in so much pain. It was terrible. Catastrophe. Very nice. Very nice. Cat 5, 100 megabits a second. Cat 6 gigabyte and 10 gig. What are you gonna do with 10 gigs a second? It's a gigabit, so it's not actually 10 gigabytes. I believe it's gigabit fiber. I don't know if it's gigabyte. Angry Pasta, what's up? What's going on? Which way do you think is the best one to learn anatomy on ZBrush? Which way do you think is the best one to learn anatomy on ZBrush? I don't know, man. I don't know. I've talked about this a lot. I should probably just put it in my frequently asked questions, because I get asked so much about anatomy. I don't know why, but yeah. What do I want to say about anatomy? I want to say that I think the best way to study anatomy, not to learn anatomy, but to study anatomy, is to just study what you need when you need it. And that's it. Grab some really good references of real humans, real people, not sculpts and not 2D drawings. Real, actual images with very good lighting. Show light and shadow very well. buy some anatomy books. If you want some recommendations, there's a link to my gear down below. You can check that out. I got some anatomy books recommended in there. But other than that, that's about it, man. No secret to it. This stupid skull shape. It's like a big old square. If you're doing a stylized character or an anime character, anything when you get into this realm, the back of the head tends to get super large. Let's see. I think there's an anime head in the... Where is it? I don't know if you guys know off the top of your head. It might be in the projects. It is. I don't want to open this because it'll kill my thing. Let me quote... But yes, there is an anime head. We'll do it real quick. I'll quick save. I should be able to jump back to this. Hopefully it saves my image. Let's open this. Okay, it did save my image. Cool. Yeah, so look how big this freaking head is, like, compared to the face. And this is just like a standard, this is the demo anime head. But even so, it's huge. This big old noggin back here compared to the face. And anime, at least for anime faces, they tend to be very flat, very graphic. With, like, painted on eyes and everything else. It's really hard to get that appeal, I think, in 3D. Whoops, wrong one. Went to my recovered. Oh, my quick save. That should do it. All right, we'll keep messing with this. Let's see. Increase your internet, and it'll go up slowly over time. And the cost is the same as Cat 6. Well then, why not? I say go ham. Jump back into ZBrush. Do it. Go crazy. I am already here, jumping away. So the widest part of a face, always going to be the cheekbones. So you want those to stick out further than any other point in your face, and then your skull typically gets a little bit more wide as you go back. Not that extreme, but you do want it to be a little bit larger in the back. I actually have an image here. I don't want to dig for it, but it's just a really simple kind of line graph showing off the areas, so the hits of the face, so showing off where the eyes are. The eyes are typically right in the middle of the face. This is for anatomical reference. If you're doing something stylized, it might be higher or lower. Like we were just looking at that anime face, everything was much lower. Cheekbones, like I said, widest part of the face. What I'm trying to do when I'm focusing on doing a stylized character, much like where we're going to be aiming, the first thing I always try to do is get this kind of triangle of the face coming down here, and depending on masculine or feminine, you know, there's a lot of changes that you can make in little areas that will help affect that. After doing that, the next thing I try to do is get these sweeping lines of the face. So the chin is a tough one to try to get this angle correct. I would, you know, look at your reference, whatever you're using, try to find that. And then this angle, coming down from the cheekbone down to the mouth, I'll be modifying that quite a bit, I'm sure. I always play with that throughout my entire sculpt. And then after I get those sweeping lines, the next thing that I try to focus on is getting depth in the face. Just because, at least in the past, I used to struggle with creating really flat looking faces. It ends up looking very unnatural. So I made it a point to really try to focus on that in the beginning, and now it doesn't happen nearly as much, just because I take care of it so early. Same thing kind of with the eyes. Try to get these like sweeping shapes. I try to connect the inner corner, like the lower lid of the eye, to wrap around to the other one. Same with the eyebrows too. All this stuff to try to get wrapping, get this nice flow going on through your face. And like I said, depending if you want more masculine features or feminine features, making these things more exaggerated or harder or softer. You know, we got really hard lines in here right now. That's only because we're trying to plane out our face, make sure that we like the proportions and the direction, and then from there we can soften things. It's much easier to soften things after you've made hard edges than it is to make new hard edges after you've softened something. So let's just continue to rotate around and play with different shapes here. And we'll probably start blocking out some eyes, some other stuff here shortly. Rohit, welcome back, man. It is nice to see you as well. Hope you're doing well. Let's see. Gotta get more of this wrap going on in our eyes, and I will most likely move this edge down. If you guys don't know what I'm doing when I'm masking here for the most part, if you hold the control key to use your mask brush and then click up on your brushes, you can switch and change what brush you're using. I like using the mask lasso. And what I use the mask lasso for is just general blockout masking. So if I want to get a quick area, you can use the mask pen as well and do a marquee select, that square or rectangle shape. I don't like using that though. I'll start with the lasso and then switch to the mask pen if I want to make a little bit more accurate selection. Then after making that selection, what I tend to do is just control click on my surface a few times to soften that mask and make that easier to tweak. And there we go. Starting to get a decent amount of wrap here. I always say that you should be looking at your sculpt from really tight angles as well, so that you can check to make sure even from this angle you're getting a nice wrap here. Things are starting to look a little flat though, if we can maybe round that out. I think that'll be better overall. Still keep things nice and tight. And our primitive shapes are starting to really just start to get more appealing because we're focusing on getting that depth and that nice round shape in the face. It's working out. Let's throw in some eyeballs and then go from there. Quick Dynamesh here. Just want to try rounding this out more. There we go. Just needed a little push. little sharpen up of the nose. The nose is very large right now. It's kind of just sticking out. We'll play with that. Figure it out. Alright, let's insert some eyeballs. Cool. So the way I like to insert eyes, I have a brush down here, my IMM primitive brush. And I like to use the point sphere that I've made. A point sphere is a particular sphere. I'll show it to you. Ooh, that's fun. But it's this sphere that has a vertice pole. It has these poles on it at the front and back of it. And the reason I use this over a polysphere, or the default polysphere in ZBrush, is because this one doesn't have any poles. I want something with poles so that I can create pupils a lot more easily. And I might be doing this, I might be jumping back and going to the old-fashioned way, but I should be able to straighten this out using Shift. So if you guys want this particular sphere, that is located in your menu up here, your quick pick menu. So to get that, you can just click append, append, and then just grab one of the base spheres, sphere 3D. That's the point sphere. Then we can just move this into place. Eyes for these types of characters are typically going to be very large and fit in the head. A little strangely, sometimes in the middle of the head they'll be like interpolating into one another. That's fine. Shouldn't matter. I recommend trying to keep them as spheres though. We'll start off maybe a little bit smaller. And then line these up in the head. And a little higher. When you are getting to a place where you're starting to put in eyelids, you want to make sure that your eyeball is high enough that you're going to get a little bit of an angle to it, a forward leaning angle. You never want it going the opposite way. And I'll show you once we get to that stage, but it just looks very, very awkward and not correct. Eyes are tough, and it's very easy to notice stuff that is wrong in them immediately. Zolly, what's going on? Or Zoli. I'm gonna watch the stream later. Thank you. Awesome. Gotta follow. Angry Pasta, thank you for the follow. Appreciate it. Yeah, the streams are uploaded on my YouTube channel. If you guys miss anything, no big deal. You can always watch them on there. Oh, and by the way, I think I guess I should announce that after today's stream, I will be up for Twitch affiliate status. So hey, we did it. That's awesome. I'm super excited. Today is the day where I get it, or at least I think there's going to be paperwork and all sorts of stuff that has to be done as well. But I will be able to do that now. So thank you everybody for coming and hanging out here on Twitch with me. Appreciate it greatly. I'm very excited to play Twitch some more and play ZBrush. I'm waiting for the day when ZBrush gets added as a game to Twitch. Then we'll be all set. It's its own software, right? Who's to say that it's not a game? Who's to say that Photoshop isn't a game? Just because there's no points? Come on. No health bar? There's lots of games without that. There's like what's the old Mickey Paint? I'm totally butchering this. I don't know. I can't remember. It's an old game for computers, for PC. What's it called? Or no, I'm thinking of Mario Paint, not Mickey Mouse. Yes, Mario Paint. I actually saw a copy of that game at a raffle recently. It came with the original box and the some kind of drawing tool. I can't remember exactly what it is because I have never personally played Mario Paint. That's a game. My point is that Mario Paint, that's a game, right? Who's to say that ZBrush isn't a game? I want my own ZBrush category. Get on it, Twitch. Alright. Much more clean, getting there, slowly but surely. Really defining these planes. Then we'll start to round stuff out more and more. Some of the things that I'll be looking for is this flow coming down from the eyelid. Once I put the mouth in, I'll start to get like a little bit of a nice S curve coming down around that area. It'll be nice eventually, right? All right. So eyes are tough, right? Or at least a lot of people think eyes are tough. I think faces are just tough in general. We will put in some eyelids here in just a moment, but first we'll put in a little something in here for our ear as well. Just a little sphere, nothing crazy. We can just rotate it into position. Move it around. Doesn't need to be anything fancy. And if we're looking for where that needs to lie, it needs to sit right behind your jaw. If you look at a skull, there's a little hole right behind your jawline. It's called your auditory meatus, or ear canal. And that is right on top where your ear goes. You want your ear to somewhat follow the line of your jaw up, so it's going to have a little bit of this backwards slope to it. And then it wants to fit somewhere between your nose and your eyes, typically. But of course, there is a ton of variation on ears and noses, just because they're mainly cartilage. They grow for your entire life. So that's why older people, in particular older men, typically have a lot larger ears and noses. But yeah, we'll continue to tweak those a little bit more here. Let's see. I don't know what this word is, Craig. Craig, you're speaking another language. And I'm doing all this without perspective on right now. What I recommend is, do what feels right for you, but for the most part, I think you should just be switching back and forth between on and off. It doesn't really bother me too much, but I like to just switch back and forth as much as I can. If I'm looking at an orthographic view like this, or like that, I'll typically toggle it off for the time being. Just a little bit easier. The ear canal, eustachian tube. Sounds like crustacean. Eustachian? I don't know if I'm saying that correctly. From the nose to the ear, balance pressure in the eardrum. Sounds like fun. What is it? Ears, nose, and throat doctor? I don't know if that's an actual thing. but yeah, your sinuses are all connected at least in some way. I don't know a ton about anatomy in the sense of anything that doesn't add any form to the... I know some stuff about anatomy that's not form related, but most anatomical knowledge that I know is related to anything that's going to change the surface of your sculpt or your person. Alright, so now we can add in some eyelids. We're allowed. We can do it now. I like to get a good amount of depth there first. So inner corner, outer corner. I might push some of that in a little bit. I'll leave it for now. Let's just leave it the way it is. And get some more geo in there and we'll see how it's looking. So, learning anatomy and that might have been physiology? I'm not sure what that word was supposed to be. Medical admin course. Ooh, fun, fun, fun. Alright, well, curved tube snap should be what we're looking for here. Boom, boom. Start getting that top eyelid. And we'll do the same thing for the bottom. But that's really cool, Craig. Sounds like fun. I've always really liked just anatomy in general. I don't... when I started sculpting, I just studied and bought whatever books I could. But now it's more of like on a per project basis, whatever I need. I do tend to do a lot of stylized stuff, so in terms of anatomical knowledge, the main stuff that I need is major landmarks, like hits or turns on the surface, anything like that. That's going to help me inform what shape I'm attempting to create in a stylized manner. But anatomy, like everything else, is a tool. I think a lot of new people relate sculpting to anatomy in some way. It's very strange. Like I said, I get asked about anatomy all the time, and really I don't understand why. I just think a lot of new people think anatomy is like everything. It really isn't. Anatomy is just a tool like everything else. It's a tool like a brush. It can be very helpful if you know it, but you absolutely don't need to know it. What's more important is your ability to sculpt and create form, and your ability to see form and replicate that form in 3D. You don't need to know diddly squat about anatomy if you can just look at an arm, not understand what's happening, but still replicate the forms. But understanding what's happening underneath the surface of the skin can help you inform a lot of your decisions for, especially when you can't see something happening, or if you have an arm in a different pose from your reference. A lot of that stuff is very helpful. Anatomy is never going to, hurt you. So there's no reason not to study, unless of course you have a better use of your time. Like I always recommend though, grab kind of a la carte style what you need when you need it. Alright, so we got our tube of geometry. From there, what I like to do is add a poly group and then ZBrush it. And what that forces the surface to do is keep a nice sharp edge loop right between those two separated poly groups. It should help out in creating the crease of that eyelid. You're the only lad in the course. There were 3 now, and then 17 women. Well, Craig, you got the pick of the litter. I'm just kidding. I don't know. I assume that this was an online thing. But that's funny. You said that there were 3. I don't know if there were 3 others, but they all ditched. Wonder why that is. Wonder why that's the case. What happened? Was interested in the anatomy and then decided, no thanks, not for me. Well, I'm convinced that some are 60 plus medical admins. 60 plus. Are you talking about age, maybe? Taking a class for medical admin, medical administration, right? That's crazy. That can't be age, right? There are some. Huh. That's interesting. Maybe it's something. Maybe it's a case where they already have a job and then they're being paid to go to additional training or something like that. I know that is very common. So a note here about eyelids. When creating eyelids with your eye, we're gonna have to adjust a lot of things here, obviously. But the main thing that I'm focusing on, one of the main things that I'm focusing on with my eyelids is making sure that this planar surface is going back roughly towards the center of my eyeball. You always want to try to keep a little bit of this plane, this green plane here, visible to the camera. So, visible to your eye from any view. That'll just help it read better, it'll help it actually catch the light there, and it's just actually more accurate to real life. We'll do the same thing for the bottom lid. We'll try to keep that sliding up a little bit so that we can do that as well. Let's try creasing. And go from there. Oh, pushed out. I see. So they were kicked out of the class. I gotcha. Career change or no job. Makes sense as well. It's pretty old for a big career change like that, but I don't think you're ever too old for a change, in my opinion. I see people that are saying, you know, I'm 40, I'm 50, I'm however old. Am I too old to start learning art? Am I too old to start drawing or sculpting? I don't think that there's any age that I would say that is the case. What's up, Nephis? Nephis? I don't know how to say it. Neph boy. Neph gal. Thank you for the follow. I appreciate it. Welcome to the stream. We're hanging out. Working on our face. It's a good time. Making some eyelids. Let's see. What next? This, I think my top brow needs to come down. I'm trying to find a way to hide this edge turn. Whoa, excuse me. This edge turn right here. So I'm thinking pull down the brow and maybe adjust that eyelid some more too. I don't know. Kind of want to Z-remesh this face so I can make this pull down a little bit more easily. I think my brow was maybe a little bit too high either way. Another thing that I'm focusing on when working on eyelids, actually just when working on anything in general, is tapered shapes, so thick to thin. As we go from the inner corner to the outer corner, it's starting to get a little bit thicker. A little bit more thick of a shape here. That's what I like to see. And then as it curls back to rotate, what the heck? As it rotates back, it starts to taper in. Man, that was weird. I'll ZBrush this really quick, just so I can make those big moves. Let's just try 1K without anything. Probably fine. Let's see. See how that does. And then maybe do one projection if needed. That's 1K. Honestly, I'm not even gonna project anything. I think that's fine. But this is already, I think, starting to look a little bit more feminine in the face. And I think a lot of that just has to do with these basic shapes that we've spent time building up, rounding out, and you know, decreasing the size of our nose, making that less of a feature. All these things add up and help. But normally when I start a face, at least I used to do this a lot, I don't do it quite as much, but I would always start with like the same default face. Now, like I said, now we're kind of experimenting and just going ham. But what I used to do is I would always make the same basic starting face, and it would be very, very masculine. And then from there, I would get it to look more feminine, just because it was easier for me. But anymore, I have much better control over my surface, much better control over my polys in general. So this kind of stuff is a lot easier for me. I don't have to necessarily make a head the same way every single time. I don't make anything the same way every single time. I'm always trying to focus on something new, some kind of new technique. Hence the experimenting. I'm getting a weird shape going on here, weird shadow. Trying to round that out some. I haven't really been looking at this reference. I mean, maybe we can turn it off, but I'll just leave it there. So people know that we are at least, you know, aiming, going somewhere. Let's see. There are some ladies in there early 40 in the class. I know nothing about medical administration. But hey, like I said, I don't think you're ever too old to do something new. Look at these nice clean planes. It's beautiful. Like I said, just takes time. Starting to round out the dome a little bit more as well. It was looking very blocky back here. Still kind of is, in my opinion. Try to get a little bit of that shape, that skull shape. Skull tends to be a little bit higher in the back as well. Trying not to make it super blocky. Get more of these nice round shapes in there. We got a little vert there that's causing us some issues. Let's get in there though. Okay, so bottom lid. We'll be jumping around a lot. Kind of similar to what I just did there. So let's do the bottom lid. Nathan, what's going on? Craig, I'm not sure I understand your message there. Type that you're willing to learn? Can you type that and you're willing to learn? I'm not sure I understand. Oh, I missed that one. Somebody Somebody, who was that? Let's see. Somebody just gave a follow or something. I'm sorry, I missed that one. Apologies. Whoever that was, thank you. Appreciate it. Welcome to the stream. Alright. Uh-oh. The neighbor's dogs are out. Coming out to play. Getting just a little bit too hard of a surface turn here. So let's try rotating. And also let's try, oh, that was weird. Try moving this up into the head, have that not be visible. And of course you want this to look like it's wrapping around the eyeball. Alright, this will be easier to shape once we get the lower eyelid in. So let's duplicate our mesh. I could redraw out another curved tube just as easily. Maybe we try just duplicating it though and see if we can fit it in. Sometimes this works, sometimes it lines up really nicely. Other times it's just like, it'd be easier to do it all from scratch. But I at least like to try it at first just to see how things are lining up. It doesn't take too long to, get into place here. But there are definitely some things that we want to change here, for sure. So the first thing that I start thinking about when I'm looking at eyelids, one of these first things is, if you're looking at the profile view, we don't have our lips in, so this won't be quite as true. I mentioned this a little bit earlier. You're looking at your internal silhouette of your face from the profile. You come down from the eyelid, around the face, around the lips, and out. So you end up with this nice rhythm that begins with that vertical kind of up to the eyelid. So it's like around the mouth, around the cheek, hit the eyelid, up, in, and then you have your eye. That's terrible. You have your eye. So that's one of the things I'm thinking about. It's one of the things we need to change. We will do that here now. Try to pull this down. And of course this will let us know how we need to adjust our cheek area to let our eyeball fit in a little bit better. We also might need to start sliding our eyeball back into our head some, which I think very well may be the case. If you can type and are willing to spend the time, you can do it. Yes. Yeah, of course. Yeah, I think if you're willing to spend the time on anything, you can definitely do it. Definitely do all the things. Alright, yeah, let's move this eye backwards. Move this top lid back, and our bottom lid. So, I mentioned the, kind of the depth here for the eye. If you guys were here earlier, depth in the face is very important as you start coming around here to the profile. And the reason that that is so important is because when you start looking at your eyelids, what you want to happen is, I'll turn off my eyeball so we can see this a little bit better. When you're coming from the front plane here, so you're coming forward, the very first thing that you want to hit is the top eyelid. The next thing you want to hit is the bottom eyelid. the front tip of that eyelid. So this front edge, that front edge, and then from there you want to hit the inner corner and then the outer corner. So you can see that there's some stuff that I still need to tweak in here to make this read a little bit better from the profile and make sure that we're hitting that eyelid order a little bit better. There's just a lot of stuff going on in eyes, and I think there's just so much that can be wrong that's probably one of the main reasons people struggle with them so much. They're also just so hugely important for your character, for just like the emotive ability of your character. The face in general. You can have... I've seen some really just well done characters like Kick-Ass. Just totally looks awesome. The face looks like garbage, and I'm immediately just turned off to the whole thing. It's just like slow pan up to the face. You're like, oh wow, this looks oh yeah, that sucks. That's why I like to spend a lot of time on the face. I like to spend a lot of time on everything. I don't know if you guys notice. I like to take my time. Sculpting and art, it's not a race unless you're working in production. Then it is a race. Then a lot of the times it's a race. You gotta get stuff done as quick as you possibly can. Okay. Let's see. Let's get a quick save in here. People acting like children. I think that's just the typical classroom, typical workplace. I mean, you're always gonna have people like that. No getting around that sort of thing. There will always be the immature ones, the complainers, all that. There's one thing I dislike more than anything else. It's complaining. I'm just not a fan. All right. Well, that's shaping up. We got some really hard planes of the face in here. Let's take a break from our face for a moment, and maybe just kind of do a once-over on our body and our neck and some other areas. Cool. So here we go. Here's everything all at once. There's a lot of really hard shapes in here that I need to soften up. I kind of just dynameshed them all together before we started streaming. These were separated a little bit, but now just a little breakup. Nothing crazy here. Nothing super new. So you guys did not miss anything. Just a quick dynamesh. This character is going to be wearing clothes. So any of these like major form changes I want to keep in, but anything that's like a really minor internal line that's not doing anything for the silhouette, or that's needlessly complicating my silhouette, I want to get rid of. So in the sculpt over here, there's a lot that's going on that's kind of unnecessary in my opinion. I think it's cool for a study if you want to try to copy something like that, or if you're doing a crochet or anything like that, but we want an appealing, clean character, and for that there's a lot of simplification that needs to take place a lot of the time. And we'll be looking at that right now. Trying to get this underwear like line here. The surface isn't wanting to turn though. Let's combine this into our neck, play with that, make that not such a feature. Yes, we'll actually, let's not smooth that out. Let's just Dynamesh this. And then we'll clean it up. Lurks. Lurking in the background. What's going on, Pro? Pro, you were here, for the last stream, weren't you? Thought you were. Not lurking too hard. And you are not the only one. I see all of you. I know you're there. Yeah, that's what I thought. Yeah, you're not lurking too hard. Well, welcome back. Glad to have you here, man. Okay, so we kind of have a little bit of form in here for the sterno. What do we got? The sternocleido mastonoid. Blah 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 blah. It's always a fun one to say. And for that, I'm gonna recreate some new polygroups. And see if we can really help that transition better. I don't like being the butt of a joke because I'm the only lad in the class. Well, that's no fun. In my opinion, I don't know. I don't get offended very easily at all. You'd have to try pretty hard, I think, to offend me. I just kind of let things roll on off. So we Z-remeshed that with polygroups to, we got a hole there, we'll fix that, to soften that form. It's even still, though, casting a very strong shadow and changing our form quite a bit more than we want. So what I'm looking for is a little bit of a straight here down to about this point, and then for it to turn. You can see that really strongly here in that style. It's just really strong, really strong. I just kind of want the main plane change. That's what I'm most concerned about there. And I'll have to transition the neck into our rib cage, our torso as well. If you you guys remember when we added this in. Well, we're gonna have to combine all of this slowly together. Let's do another one here. So the neck into the chest. So we'll get that all flowing together and go from there. Whew, I just got really lightheaded for no reason at all. I don't know what's going on. If I pass out on stream, someone hack my computer and turn it off for me, please. The sternocleidomastonoideus. I've never heard the oideus at the end. I always call it the sternocleidomastonoid. I believe, isn't it mastonoid? Isn't there an N in there? Maybe not. Maybe I'm misremembering. I don't know. Let's give it a Goog for those that don't know. Sternocleidomastoid. There is no N. There is no N. But yes, I've never heard the eus at the end. I always thought there was an N. It doesn't matter. Names aren't important. But yeah, that's that line that we're trying to get there. Really, we're just trying to create a plane break, coming from collarbone up to essentially your ear canal, up around there. It's the only muscle name worth remembering. It's always fun to say, right? Yeah. Everyone will automatically assume you know all of the anatomy. Yeah, it's true. Funny story. So my girlfriend, for my last birthday, got us a couples massage, and we went and we did it. It was great. It was a good time. But at the end, the person that was massaging my neck or whatever said, it was like, in this long muscle down your neck. I was like, oh yeah, the sternocleidomastoid. And she was like, what? You know the name of that? I was like, yeah, no big deal. I know anatomy and stuff. But it's totally true. It's so true that if you mention like one muscle name that sounds very complex, everybody's like, wow. Is there anything else like that where you can just say the name of one thing and just like look very look very smart in front of everybody? I need more of that, guys. I need to look smarter because I'm just not. I'm just not. Now we can transition this a lot better because that was looking like a big old turd. I don't know if you guys remember the poop sandwich, but things are getting a little bit less poopy in our sandwich. 3x3, welcome to the stream. I don't understand your Chinese characters. It's a lot of kanji, more than I know. Yeah, you could like memorize just a few things, and as long as you like, if you know some medical terminology like anterior or posterior, superior, like any of that, you can start naming a couple things here and there. It's like, ooh, wow, this guy, he knows things. Quantum particles, yeah, there you go. Yeah, I googled quantum mechanics once, read a Wikipedia article. Kind of a big deal. It's like your party trick that you know. It's not a bad idea. I'm into it. So here be our clavicles, right? These little tubules, scuba dubes. Can I hide all that at once? Where are my deltoids? Okay. Maybe not. We'll keep those on. try to work with these together. Deltoids are tough, I won't lie. You know what, everything on this is, characters are tough, but deltoids in particular like to screw with my head. But I do enjoy sculpting them. They have a really cool flow about them. I'm trying to, it's a little high. I'm trying to get the back to turn. There we go. This is what I'm looking for. I'm looking for this flow down the neck to about where your scapulas are, and then get the surface to turn around there. Might be a little bit high still. It's fine. It doesn't matter. I think it looks fine. That's about where we want that turn to take place. So the ridge of the scapula, the deltoid actually flows back along that and grips onto your scapula. Your scapula is your chicken wing. So if you put your arm behind your back, I don't know if you guys ever did this when you were a kid, it pops out and you can gross out all the other kids on the playground. But it kind of flows back and sticks to that. The way this will work, like, oh, actually here, you can kind of see they kind of put it in. That's not really the right shape. The ridge of the scapula is actually pretty straight and angled back more like this. So they kind of informed that a little bit. You can see that they have a little bit of a scapula shape in there. But if we... I can't see my keyboard and I'm terrible at typing without looking. But yeah, here we go. That's pretty good representation. So more of a straight line, kind of angling back from that deltoid a little bit. So that actually, man, the way the humerus slots in here, this is anatomically just such a complex area. The way your arm works, so that's why it's called the shoulder girdle. I've mentioned this in the last stream. Once your arm gets about, you can do this right now at home. If you raise your arm up to about like a T-pose, about a 90-degree angle, that's as far as your arm can actually raise. Your arm can't raise much further past that. What happens though, once you pull past that, is all these, your scapula, your collarbone, put your hand on your collarbone as well. You'll feel your collarbone start to raise up. And that's because your collarbone, your scapula, and your humerus are all working together with all these muscles, your pecs, everything wrapping around, grabbing onto here. And I can't remember the name of this movement, it's not important. But as it starts to raise up past that 50%, all those things start working together, and these muscles contracting and pulling and everything else to help raise your arm up further. So really your humerus, your big arm bone, really only raises up to about here. Everything past that, it's your shoulder that's all working together to raise past that. So that's one of the reasons why this area is so tough, so complex. But we're not sitting here trying to be super anatomically accurate. We're just trying to make some appealing forms. But knowing and understanding how this works helps us to get all of this working together in a nice, clean manner. So the more you know, the more you know. It's all helpful though, it is. Let's maybe build up this a little bit more, huh? Balax, welcome to the stream. Glad to have you here. It's a fun name. I'm into it. The saddle joint. I have not heard that one before. That might be another name for that area. Engine X, welcome. Welcome back, friend. Hope you're doing well. She's leaning way too backwards. It feels a bit unnatural. So our balance is off. Yes, we could definitely lean her forward more. what happens is so we're working in all these different parts, right? These are all split up into different subtools. So as I try to come down here and work on the weight, one of the last things I did, I think in the last stream, was getting a little bit more of that shape language in the front, a little bit more of the straight here. And as we move these forward and back, it starts to feel like, if we draw a line up that leg, it starts to feel like she's maybe leaning backwards a little bit. We want to get that leaning forwards. So the way we'll do that in transpose, but we'll do that later. One thing at a time, right? But I don't want to make a big change like that until I'm really happy with those legs. We'll be merging those legs together, and then maybe we can even, skew these legs back, and that will help in that. Maybe we don't need to lean the whole character forward. We'll see. We will figure out what's going on with the balance there. It is, in general, a balancing act, right? The whole thing, the whole process. Start to get a little bit too sharp there, I think. And I think we could maybe combine those as well. This ridge here that I've built up is quite strong. The deltoid actually has 3 major heads of this shape, and we're not concerned about getting those all in there. For the most part, the shape of the deltoid, though, that we're looking for is getting, I call it a comma shape. I feel like that's fairly accurate. So just kind of focusing on that overall form there. So we're still worried about simple things here. Once I merge these together, I don't want this to be much of a thing, but I do want a little bit of a form transition there. So let's just merge, diner mesh, and go. We'll continue to smooth out that transition, get that looking a lot better. We need we really haven't done anything to our forearms or our hands. That's okay though. We'll get to that. We've looked a little bit at these biceps, just kind of this upper arm portion, kind of blocking out some of the shapes in here. But we also need a fair bit of work up here. Need a fair bit of work everywhere. Let's get a remesh in. Let's see. After we do that, I'm not going to merge these to the body, but I can maybe look at merging our clavicle as well as our legs together. Like I said, we're just doing kind of a once-over before we jump back to our face and continue working in that area. Build up that form a little bit more. A little bit better flow there between those two shapes. It's gonna look a little weird here without the rest of our arms, but it'll be fine for now. So we end up getting a little bit of a flat here where the clavicle ends. There's a bony landmark here. The way I'm gonna represent that, I'm probably going to fade out my clavicle as it comes up here, and then just do some kind of trim in flat, something like that. I don't know yet. We'll figure it out. but we could probably round out and add quite a bit more form up here just to round this shape out in general. A little bit more towards the back though. Try to get that weight feeling good. Starting to get a little wide as well. Alright, let's hide those and look at our clavicle for a little bit and how I'm going to merge this. Kind of pull that in. And we'll just dynamesh that all together. Start blending some geometry. Pretty strong translation right now between those two forms. So just a quick dynamesh. Let's see how that looks. So I want it to be a little. I want them to be a little bit more more visible towards the front, just so we get some interesting shapes playing around in here. I might, you know, build up this line a little bit more. We'll see. I'll leave it alone for now though. Maybe get a little bit more pressed in around here. Our chest is actually, so I did a little bit of a pinch through here. It's actually getting a little bit too strong, too concave. I try to fill that back in. I like to get those really strong center lines for a lot of these areas, but I think that's just way too much, right? Definitely want these ribs to still feel rounded, still feel like they're wrapping really well, which I feel like they are. We'll see once we get our breasts in place later. I've not even added any simple spheres or anything yet for that, but we will get to that eventually. And we can start filling in all this and fix this shape as well. I am using my trim dynamic brush right now, holding Alt. Helps fill in this area. Any of these little creases can start blending between. A lot more in there too. What's going on, Kaiyan? Welcome back. Welcome back. You missed it. You missed our face work. We didn't do too much. We really just defined some planes, started getting in a couple pieces of geometry for our eyes. Nothing super crazy, but for anybody that's kind of joining us a little bit late, all my stuff does get uploaded to my YouTube afterwards. So if you missed something that you really wanted to check out, or you just want to see the entire process and you can't make a certain stream, no big deal. It's all recorded. Okay, let's trim. Let's not trim. Let's mask. This sounds like some spooky music. Maybe not. Hard to tell. I need a spooky playlist for Halloween for October. I'm just in my normal chill playlist right now. Sir Pink, what's up? What's going on? How long have you been sculpting? For going on 5 years now, I believe. Planning the sculpt alongside your VOD later. when I finish with my anatomy training. Sounds like fun! Definitely send me some pics on Twitter or the Discord or something. I should also put that question, pink beard, into my FAQ. I get asked that quite often. Not sure why though. I haven't been sculpting super long, especially considering I did nothing artistic before that. Oh, trim, trim, trim. Come on. Just trying to fill in that area. Our deltoid will help to fill that in as well, I think. So maybe a little bit less there. Just try something like that. Once I merge and translate that a little bit better. I'm not liking that shape. We'll try to fix it later. Like I said, once we merge that in. I was gonna down-res this, but it's fine. We'll just down-res it once. And I'll fix my underwear line here. Who knew anatomy was so cool? Anatomy's fun. I like me some anatomy every now and again. 5 years is a long time. Not in my head. But if you're completely new, for sure, 5 years could be a long time. This character is for the month of October. For Spookoween. We're doing a witch character. Whoops, trying to get that hip to feel better. Let's look at our legs and merging some stuff in here. I need to remesh that torso. We'll wait a second. Let's merge these as well, dynamesh them. Blend here. Now remember, if you guys were here for the last stream, we were talking about the way that this top portion of the leg wraps around and kind of grips around that gastrocnemius. Kind of slots in here, kind of like what we've already got playing around here. Just a matter of blending some of this and making that a little bit more apparent. We already have a pretty nice flow, I think, between these shapes. Once we blend them a little bit better, we will be looking good. A lot of trim for this. Trim dynamics specifically. Let's see. Blend that. Do you do stylized only or different styles? Let's see. Pro, ask that. I've done stuff for as cartoony as the Looney Tunes and as realistic as I've done some stuff for the Museum of Flight in Seattle, realistic characters. So if you go to my art station, there should be a link down below. You can see a bunch of crap that I've worked on. I do a lot of stylized stuff now though. Here's our most recent character, our Gooby. Where are the pilots? some pilots that I've done, so some more realistic stuff, a bunch of pilot guys. So that was a fun project. Gooby, he was a lot of fun. He was our last character that we did on stream. All those videos are on my YouTube channel if you guys want to check those out. But yeah, I don't know, lots of stuff. I've done a lot of different stuff. Let's see. 5 years is short for a career or doing a hobby. I think in general, 5 years sounds like an eternity to me. Like if I think 5 years from now, where do you think you're going to be in 5 years? I don't know, picking my nose? Like what kind of stupid question is this? Do you even know how to interview anybody? So in that regard, 5 years sounds like a long time. But in terms of art, I don't think 5 years is a long time. Specifically art, I would say. Let's see. People spend their whole life honing their skill. Absolutely, absolutely. People spend ages and ages doing that kind of stuff. I mean, currently I'm planning on spending my life doing some more sculpting and stuff, so I don't plan on that changing anytime soon, so I'm probably one of those people. Stupid leg. I can never get into the middle of here. That other daggum leg in the way. Here's what I mean by getting these muscles to wrap and grip your leg a little bit. You start to get like this nice flow going on here. Just need to fix this. Now, I might be getting a little bit more defined than I want. Defined here. Then we're gonna want for our character. Whoa. So let's try to not let that happen. Just need to connect these a little bit better at first. Get the plane change for the knee. Fix some stuff here. Stupid lazy mouse freaking out on me. There we go. Alright. In the way that that's fun. Nice poly groups. The way that I'll get this to define a little bit better on the Z mesh is with our good old pal poly groups. Whoop. And then we'll use our mask pen to clean up this shape more. Actually, let's invert that mask. Something like that. That's fine. And then I'll just polygroup that. And I need to get a lower res so that I can actually work with this. Because right now it's just too high. $1K is probably fine. We'll see. Let's see. Can't find an ArtStation link down below. Found you though and clicked follow. Oh, maybe I don't have it. I'm sorry. Let me double check. If it's not there, I'll write it down. But I don't. You're right. Thank you for letting me know. I'm sorry. If you just Google Follygon, you'll probably find it, or go on ArtStation and search it. Let me write that down. I will add that. I apologize. Let's see. Add ArtStation link. Cool. That's my bad. Okay, so we got our poly groups helping out with the edge flow. A little dirty. It's fine. It should be fine. Get some projecciones. Oh, that's nice. It's beautiful. Ooh. Alright, now the edge flow's helping us out a little bit better here. Get some nice clean shapes going on here. Using our polygroups to help us out. And try to clean that up. And get this nice wrap of that final head of the quadricep as that comes down and wraps around your knee. It's always a really cool shape. And I think it helps define the legs a lot from the front view. This music is way too epic for sculpting. Flashback. Flash, go away. Let's see. Do you just sculpt, or do you also do streams on Retopo for manual retopology? I typically don't stream any manual retopology now. You need Gotchi? I don't know what Gotchi is. Should I know what Gotchi is? Are you tricking me? Are you making me say something I shouldn't? Let's see. Keep defining this shape. Honestly, I think watching someone stream manual retopology, like, first of all, retopology is one of the most boring parts of the entire pipeline. I can't imagine watching someone do that. Sounds like a blast. That would be awful. I think yeah. I'm good. Alright, now we're really starting to get some cool definition in there. This one, on this side, we'll just get some hard edges in here at first, and then soften that transition. And then, you guys know how you can't mirror and weld when you have, you can't mirror and weld when you have subtools, or subdivision levels? Instead of using that, I'll show you guys the other way to do it. It's just a little bit heavier. It takes a little bit longer to do. I'll clean that up some more, but really quick here. This edge is bothering me. So instead of using those standard mirroring tools, we can go into our Z plugins, go into Subtool Master, and you can click on Mirror here, right there, or you can go in here and Mirror, merge into one subtool, X-axis, and we have 5 subdivs. That's okay, and it will retain all of that for us. Turn on X symmetry, we should be good to go. A little bit dirty up here from the projection. Nothing we can't clean up really fast. And our feet are still facing forward, so it's like this very awkward stance that we get from that. But now that we have these legs merged, what we can do is get a little bit of some skew happening here. So I forget who mentioned the balance, but pushing these back a little bit, and then realigning this, it'll help to not feel like she's leaning back or feeling off balance quite as much. Now to do that with the transpose line, we're not rotating. It's not a rotation, it is a move action. So to skew a shape. And it was so slight of a movement that for something like that, it's totally fine to skew it a little bit. So There we go. You can even turn on perspective and just get an idea of proportionally how things are feeling. I would like to focus on our forearms. We'll maybe look at them really quick. I would like to get back into the face since that's what I said we'd focus on. So let's maybe spend a few minutes here just messing around with our forearms for a minute or two, just to get them in a little bit of a non-doofy looking place. Gotchi is the finest music genre? Oh, it's a genre of music, not even an artist. I'm so unhip and cool. I'm sorry, I don't know Gotchi. Retopology is the reason I decided to go 2D first. Nice. Watch to see techniques and hang out with streamers. The actual workflow is tedious, absolutely. Yeah, there's a lot of resources online for just, if you're working on human characters, I mean, it's been done a billion times, so I don't think there's too much development in terms of topology flow, unless you're just wanting to learn some new tools or software or anything like that. You want a Retopo assistant? Man, that's called Fiverr. Slap a $5 or $10 bill on your computer, just open up your disk tray, slide that in. Could probably find somebody if you don't want to do it that bad. Skin weighting is extremely tedious. Oh man, I hate skin weighting in Maya so much. I haven't done it in quite a while. Can't wait to get your hands on Peel UV, the new UV tool for ZBrush. Yeah, that looks super cool. I'm very excited about that as well. It looked like I still think you're gonna have to go into like some other 3D program if you're working on something that's hard surface or any object where you need to set up hard edges or any kind of smoothing group. Didn't look like they had that kind of functionality, so that's still like a huge kind of deal. You still have to go into probably some other pipeline or some other software for your pipeline, sorry. We'll see how that goes. It's not a big deal to me though. Everything I do is production style work. I think maybe we could just thin these out quite a bit. Thin, and then thicken out the wrist a little bit. Looking at that shape language here from the back side, getting a little bit of an S curve that I don't want. I do, however, want a little bit of that directionality. Realign some junk. And then we'll thicken up that wrist. I'm just trying to do a couple quick big changes overall. Just get this wrist looking in a little bit of a better shape. Sculpt a little bit more volume on the inner side here. And maybe a little bit to the outer as well. Probably exaggerated that curve a little bit too much. But yes, similar to the legs, we also have a little bit of that kind of wrapping and gripping around of the muscles to the upper portion of the arm. So kind of a similar thing going on, not quite the same. It's not quite as strong on the inner surface here, but we'll get it. We'll build it up slowly. All right, we'll freak out, camera, please. We also haven't looked at our hands yet, which is fine. We'll look at that later, right? Probably spend an entire stream just working on some hands. And I'm going to recopy this just because it's too high res. And I want to clean up the underwear line. You mostly do work that will be printed. Anything that is for RP or production, yeah. Pretty much my entire background of professional work is in life-size figures and toys. I'll do one more subdiv there. I'm just gonna have to fill this in, I think. Make this feel more natural. Transition looks really awkward. That's why I needed these lower subdivs. So if you saw this silhouette, that internal line, we're getting a really strong concavity in there. That was the main issue. Start to pull that out. Let's see. Make a quick note here. And just kind of pulling up to the edge of that iliac crest. And I'll probably merge those legs in eventually and start cleaning up that transition. For the time being though, I won't worry about that anymore. We'll get back into our face here. Start playing around with that. Let's see. Alright. I will just create a... I'll just create a start group and hide what I can here. So we're just focusing in on the head. I guess I'll leave the neck on, right? Leave that just visible. Yeah, that's fine. It doesn't really matter. Okay, cool. So at the start of our stream, let's see, how far can I roll back here? Probably not all the way. No, I don't think that's all the way at least. Let's load in base 2. Okay, so this is where we started this stream at with the head. Very just simple block out, getting the planes, getting some of those major shape transitions, all that good stuff. And now we're getting here, we're starting to get a lot more rounding going on in our face, a lot more softer shapes, just kind of lining up stuff a bit better, threw in some eyes, ears, all that good stuff, just to start cleaning this up and getting it to a more appealing place. So we will continue to do that. Maybe put in a mouth, maybe define our nose a little bit better. This isn't what we're aiming for. I mentioned this at the beginning of the stream. I'll mention it just again really quick. What we are attempting to do, though, I was kind of just using the body of this character as a proportional guideline. I don't really like this style of head very much. It's kind of like I call it like a doll style head. I don't know exactly what you would call it. But I tend to go for a little bit, I don't know, maybe more towards a Disney style head, or I always compare my style to a little bit Nintendo-esque. I don't know if that's accurate. I like a lot of Nintendo properties, and sculpt a lot of fan art from them. And I've also worked on Pokemon professionally for some toys. So I like Nintendo. So that's what I tend to compare my style to. I don't know how accurate that is of an identifier. I don't know. But either way, I'm just gonna leave that there for now. It's a good kind of guideline if I'm feeling like I want to try something else. Plus, we're experimenting, trying out some new things, seeing what works, seeing what doesn't. We're not aiming for anything specific, except for it's got to look good, and it's going to be a witch, female witch, I don't know. It's got to look good. That's about it. So, noses. We got a really simple plain block out here. The way I start defining my nose, first of all, this nose is going to be extremely small, not very hard shapes. We want this to be definitely not a main feature on the face. But the way we start doing this is just kind of push in some nostrils. I like to start redefining some of the other planes that are going to be in the nose. Start getting all these secondary shapes. Maybe start, well, that was a kind of shite mask. Maybe start getting some of these changes in here. I really like sculpting noses. Sculpted more than a couple noses in my time. But just starting to define these shapes. We'll build them up slowly but surely. Great to see you build that anatomy with those sub-tools. Yeah, that's pretty much how I work for everything. A waifu style head. Yes, a waifu. An anime style head, I think is what you're saying. That's kind of like an anime style head. Typically anime style heads are a lot more flat. I was showing off one earlier that's a default in ZBrush, and their heads are a lot larger, faces are a lot smaller. That's, I don't know, that's not quite an anime style head. But, what was it? Yes, the subtools. When I started working on toys, I didn't used to work that way to that extent, but it just really helps you get cleaner forms. It's really just a nice workflow. I saw a coworker at the time kind of working that way a little bit, and then I took it and ran with it, and now I do it for literally everything. Probably do it a little bit too much sometimes. But yes, I have seen many people since then start to use that similar kind of workflow. So I'll probably build this up more so than it needs to be, but really what I try to focus on right now is just getting these major shapes in. That's the most important part here, and then after doing that, then you can start to feminize it, knock it back down, make it a little less hard shape transitions like we got going on now. There's a lot of interesting stuff going on in noses that I could talk about. Just from the profile view, typically the inner edge tucks up under inside where the outer kind of comes out here, so you can't really see that a lot of the time. From the front view, this plane is wrong. I need to just rotate my nose. Like I said, I like sculpting noses. It'll start to rotate down a little bit. It starts to pull out this edge. This nose is like too big in general for this face, especially for that feminine wow that we're looking for. So just kind of make this a lot smaller. Try to pull in. Maybe get a little bit of a curve up here. I'll play around with that a lot later, I'm sure. But I don't know if you guys have ever seen the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle reference for noses. A nose from the front kind of looks like a Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle mask. I don't know if you can really see the shape right now, but it's kind of easier if you draw it. I've seen people use that for drawing a lot. I don't really think about it anymore, but I still think it's funny. Gian, welcome to the stream, says, do you know how to use the panel bottom tutorial, what have ZBrush? The panel bottom. This thing? This thing down here? I'm not sure entirely what you're talking about. Maybe if you word it slightly different. Are you talking about down here? I'm not sure. Or maybe if somebody else knows. Fun fact, a lot of people don't know this, but your bottom tray down here, did you know that if you hold the control key, you can scroll this? Ooh, fancy. A lot of people don't know you can do that. So you can actually fit a billion things down here if you want to fit more. And then all you do is hold control and scroll away. It's pretty cool. A lot of people I don't think know that. I don't use it personally, but it can be helpful. Let's see. Need to fix this. Let's do damn standard. Nice tip. Can I do it vertically too? I think you can do it on any of these menus, like this one. Yeah, I think you can do it on everything, if I remember correctly. Yeah, and then of course your like sidebar menus. Of course you can fit custom menus and everything else you want to put in there. But yes, you can scroll everything. When you use ZBrush for a long time, you just start to collect all the little tips and tricks. All right. Maybe flare those out even more. Really just define that a little bit better. It's really thick, so we'll fix that here in a moment. Instead of remeshing the entire head, let's do this. Let's grab our nose-a-rooney. And let's just work on our nose for a minute by itself. Get rid of all the distracting things here. If I Dynamesh this right now, it'll freak out with this edge. So to fix that, what I'll do is run a groups loops, and then I'll have an extra poly group here that I can pull back a little extra edge, which can be useful. And then I'll Dynamesh. Maybe a little bit lower res than I wanted. Okay. Now let's really start defining all these nice plane changes, cleaning up all this junk. We're starting to just get a little bit too messy for my liking. I'm gonna get this nice, I'll use back face masking here, inflate this area. I'm gonna get this nice wrap for your nostril on the side, out and around. This is the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle mask that I was kind of talking about. It's kind of hard to see, but probably pinch in around our nostrils so we get a nice plane change there. It's starting to subduct a little bit too much, so I could either build that up with clay tubes or I could just mask it and move it out. Either works. This way is a little bit faster probably though. There we go. We're really starting to fix this plane here. So this here, just mask this off. I'll show you guys an awesome trick here after I fix this mask. This works super well when you remesh polygroups on a nose. I love using it. Define our plane. Oh, let's run a group visible first. So get that bottom edge. We will get this edge here. And I'll have to reshape this nose. It got really wide here. I'll have to fix that. Shouldn't be too hard though. Yes, ZBrush secrets. I know them all. Pretty much all of them, I would think at this point. Let's see. Here's a ZBrush secret. Do you guys know this one? Ooh, fun. Look at that, neat. You can change it and make it a little bit different. A guy I used to work with, I used to work with this guy, and every time he would get up from his computer, this is the magnifying glass in ZBrush. The hotkey for it is Shift-M. It's up in your preferences. I believe. I can't even remember. There it is, magnifying glass. So let's make the radius a lot larger. You can make the zoom stronger. But what I always did was I turned off the frame and the shadow and the rest. That's pretty much it. So anytime he would get up from his computer, I'd go over, not every time, but I'd go over to his really quick, and I'd turn on his magnifying glass, and he didn't know what it was, like, because nobody uses this. So I would turn it on, and then go back to my desk and act like nothing had happened, and then he'd come back, and he'd be like, what is, like, I don't know what this is. How do I make this go away? What's happening? What's happening to my computer? What's wrong? It's broke, like, what is wrong? So every time I did this to him, he had to restart ZBrush. And he'd get so mad. He never figured it out. I eventually told him though. I probably... Yeah, we used to mess with each other all the time. Like, another person had their computer get set up that whenever they started their computer, their browser would open and it would play the like it would go to YouTube and open up the Rick Astley Rickroll song, Never Gonna Give You Up. That was another good one. Lots of little things like that. We used to just mess around with each other all the time. Okay. Now let's remesh our nose with these polygroups. Keep groups on and try to get a nice, decent edge flow here. Yeah, if you have a small monitor, the moving of the UI thing there, it really helps. I know, he was a terrible coworker, right? I totally... Oh, me? You mean me? Oh. What were some of the other ones? Some of the other things we did. Oh my gosh. So, one time, the guy who I used to turn the magnifying glass on for, his name was Blake, but he got these moldable plastic beads, and if you heated them up, these hard, like, they looked like BBs, like for a BB gun, and if you heated them up, they would become moldable plastic really quick, and you could just mold it with your hands. So our project lead, like, I think he left for the day. He was going to some meeting or something. It doesn't matter, but he took these beads, and so our project lead used ZBrush a little bit, but he also used a software called Freeform. Freeform, if you guys don't know, is a like at least $15,000 software. It's called GeoMagick Freeform. Blah 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 blah. Can't see. GeoMagick Freeform. There you go. Cool. And you have, let's see, you have this tool called a haptic. It's this sphere with a pen attached to it. And what the haptic tool does is it gives resistance to when you're sculpting. So as you like push into the clay, the pen will actually like resist as if you're touching the surface. It's super cool. It's really fun to play around with. But the reason this software is so expensive is because they have it's a sculpting tool, but it's also an engineering tool. It's crazy. It's very, very useful for working on stuff for toys or life-size figures or anything that's going to need to go to production. It's pretty crazy, and like I said, it's very, very expensive. I don't know anybody that just personally owns Freeform. But anyway, Blake took this heated up plastic, very quickly molded it into a crude penis, and then jammed it onto the end of his haptic pen, and then left it there as it hardened and got stuck there. So he came back, and it's just on there. It's just on his haptic pen. So we did it was a good time. There's a lot of stupid stuff like that, just kind of messing with each other. It was a really small, tight-knit tight-knit group of people. Good team. But yeah, good times in the digital sculpting realm. Alright. So to get our nose back on there, I will have to hide this nose, maybe just straight up delete it. Probably don't want to do that though. Probably want to clean up that. And then delete that, plane it out. I think that'll be fine. So let's see. Delete, delete, close holes. Okay. This also gives me a nice chance to fix this surface here. Which is another reason why I did that. Make sure that's wrapping all the way through there nicely. And now this nose will fit right where we left it. Once we merge that in, it should be nice and easy. And I have, like I said, I have these really hard planes in here, but that's just so that we can define those a little bit easier. It's very easy for us to soften those and adjust them as we see fit. But, you know, we can merge our nose back in. We can leave it separated if we want to keep it separate for now, just in case we want to make any large-scale changes. And our poly groups right now with this geometry can help us inform a lot of these changes a lot easier than after we merge some of that together. Maybe our nostrils. Good, move those back, make sure that that's fitting in there, and then once we Dynamesh and merge all that together, it will be easy to clean up those areas. I'm just concerned with making that connect back up right. Should be good though. Noses, I think, this nose is a little bit big too. Like I said, I don't want it to be quite a large feature on the face for a feminine face. Prefer to get those softer shapes there. It's right here, giving me the most trouble. There we go. Now we're starting to get that plane change that I want. If you look at our reference up here, this image, they have pretty much the like anime style nose where it's literally just a little pyramid or triangle jammed on there. This is actually a little bit more defined. You can see like a slight little nostril shadow in there. I've done characters with that style nose before, but I don't know, I'm not a huge fan. I don't have anything close by, but let's look at, I don't have anything with that style of nose close by, but let's look at this one here. Let this load up. Let me quick save this too. Okay. So for this nose, in the reference that I was using, it was extremely sharp, very defined, very asymmetrical. So I had to come in here and make quite a lot of changes to get this to read a lot better and just be more appealing in general. I think if you're looking at that profile view, like I mentioned, trying to figure out this angle can be tough sometimes, but also just kind of bringing up the face to blend into that nose, just your nasolabial fold here, can really help to make that appear more feminine. Right now what we have is a very sharp kind of plane change, which is fine, That's how I try to define those planes at first. But then after a while, what we will do is, you know, start to blend up and build all that together to get that closer to something like what we're seeing in here with this face. But yeah, I'm almost done with this character. I keep bringing this up, but the hair is, I feel, still a little lacking for what I want to do with this character, but I'm kind of either at my limit with it, or I just need to like put it on pause for a week or two, come back to it and maybe mess with it. But she's looking pretty good. I'm pretty happy with it. It's been a long process working on this since it was completely asymmetrically done. Kind of pain to do it that way, but it was it's always good experience and good practice to do stuff like that. But yeah, she's looking pretty good. Like I said, that nose is pretty close to what we're going to be trying to do in our face for this new character. Working as a software engineer is boring. All my friends are software devs, so I don't know. I used to, so when I started going to college, I was in CS as well, computer science, and then after a semester of that, I decided that it just wasn't for me. I'm very analytically minded. I ended up doing a lot of front-end web dev and web design in college, and just because I wanted to do something artistic a little bit. Like, I really wanted to get into design, but also I knew that I was incredibly analytically minded, so at the same time it was like a little bit of both worlds. But eventually I discovered digital sculpting and ZBrush, and I was kind of into 3D modeling a lot, just in like, I got started doing like a lot of simulation style stuff in Maya. I was kind of interested in animation at that time as well, and then like I said, discovered ZBrush, discovered digital sculpting, high resolution 3D modeling, and the rest is history. But yeah, like I said, all my friends are software devs. That's what I'm gonna actually put on my my resume. I'm a I'm a ZBrush engineer. Sounds fancier, right? Ooh, engineer. It's like, all right. Guy knows what he's doing. I'm gonna try to pull out my edge of my nostril there. Ooh. Back face masking probably a little bit better here. Trying to make these changes at a lower resolution as well. Lots of little tweaks. Trying to get something really clean here. Appealing shapes are hard, right? So take your time with it. Like I said before, it's not a race. Okay, I'd be happy, even though that this nose is still pretty large. I'd be fine merging this into the face at this point, since we've defined these shapes a little bit better here. Just gonna pull this all out in general. There we go. This is the plane that I want. Maybe I actually might have done it a little bit too much. That's okay. Easier to knock stuff back down than it is to keep trying to tweak everything one step at a time. Still a little bit too much here on the wings of the nose. Kind of play with those for a minute. Yeah, I just think they're trying to get a separation here, but at the same time they're just becoming too much of a feature overall. Probably just merge that down and go from there. Alright, once we blend that, that'll be a little bit nicer as well. Let's try a 300 res or so, see what that gives us. Let's go a little bit higher. I'll quit my job once I'm good enough to work as an artist. Well. Sounds like a plan. I don't know what good enough to work as an artist exactly means. I don't know if I'm good enough to work as an artist, but I do it anyway. Alright, so I'm just trying to blend this transition quite a bit. Pull up our face. Another way that it's sometimes easier to see this stuff is from backside polys. Just so you can see how that surface is turning out. It's very convex right now. Need to try to flatten that plane and blend it to the rest of the face. Trying to do that with my trim brush. Alright. Basic nose. Pretty tiny nose, which is what we want. At least for now. Alright, cool. So we've got our eyes in, our basic eye shapes, our basic nose shape in, some really basic simple ears. I don't know, we can maybe add a quick few secondary forms in there. I'm not too worried about it. I typically just insert, well, I'm going to keep these ears really simple and stylized, so if I am doing something for a character for ears, I'll typically just insert an ear that I have. I probably even have an insert ear brush here. Yeah. So if I'm doing something realistic with realistic ears, I'll just insert these. I sculpted these a while ago, and ears just take, you know, an hour or two, and why or for something like this, maybe like an hour or even less. But why spend that time when I can just insert one that I've already made in the past? I used to have that brush on my Gumroad, I think. I don't think it's on there anymore, though. Actually, I think it's in my, maybe not. I'm not going to make any promises. I don't know where it is. I used to have it somewhere. Okay. So, how are we looking overall? What do you think, guys? Should we start to put in our mouth, put in some lips? Lips are always kind of a pain in the butt. How are we doing on time, actually? We're actually getting pretty far up there. Let's do a couple more things here. And I might have to go here in a minute. Not in a minute, but in a little bit. I didn't realize what time it was. Okay. So, head size, proportionally, I think we're closer to where we want. I could maybe just move that head down a little bit. I feel like we could maybe lean her forward a little bit more for balance's sake. I'm gonna leave the feet the way they are. We still need to do a lot of work to our hands right now. I don't know if I've shown off this mesh in detail, but this is just a basic hand that I have. And then you can take these fingers, and these digits are separate meshes as well. So you can work with these individually, you can bend those, but I'm gonna have to, this is just like really thick, the fingers are really fat, and for a feminine hand we're gonna have to thin a lot of that out, change a lot of things just proportionally in that hand. I need to make a good, like, really basic hand, and maybe we'll spend some time doing that in our next stream, because I would like to. I said that we'd probably spend like a stream on the head and a stream on the hands all by itself. But even today, we've gone from the head and just jumped around with the body and everything else. But we do have quite a few people in here, and I guess since we haven't done one today, let's do a little bout, a little fight. Since I kind of forgot to do one earlier at the start of the stream, and that's my fault. But we've got a lot of people in here now, so it should be a decent one. If you guys want to play, you can play along. Go over to the Twitch chat and literally just type anything in the chat. It doesn't matter what it is. But then you'll be entered into the game, and you can fight some of your fellow viewers. It's always fun. It looks like it's taking a minute to load, though. Oh no, what's going on? It's taking a while. But if you're watching on YouTube and you want to play along, oh no, I think it crashed. I don't know what happened. What's wrong? Let's restart it. If you're watching on YouTube, there's a link down in the description if you want to play along. Okay, one more try here. Maybe it's just not working today. I don't know. Let's see. Come on. Maybe it's... Oh, there we go. Alright, cool. Cool. Okay, so if you want to play, get in the Twitch chat. Type literally anything. It doesn't matter. You can type E. You can type Q. You can type anything. Try it again. I'm sorry. It just started. There we go. Now it's working. Get your Hadokens going. Eon was doing pretty good yesterday. He was getting a little bit lucky, in my opinion, but we'll see. We'll see how it goes today. Alright, try typing again if you didn't. Alright, there we go. Get a 1v1 going first. Helmy and Eon duking it out. Football versus, what's that face called? Does anybody remember? That's one of the old Rage comic faces. What the heck? I've never seen that in this game before. He literally just punched him once and he exploded. I've never seen that happen before. That's really weird. Nginx and Pelmy going crazy. Yeah, the classic Rage comics. What the heck just happened with that single... That was like One Punch Man style. I'll jump around here a little bit. Let's see. No damage yet, but the sword, the weapons are typically super OP. They typically wreck everybody. But if you want to play in the next game, just type something in the chat and you'll be entered to join in. It doesn't work on YouTube though, you gotta do it on the Twitch chat. The Gumroad power, that's right. If you buy something on my Gumroad, you'll get a weapon. Brendan's in here. Frosty, what's up, man? Yeah. Speaking of, since I literally haven't even mentioned it this stream, if you guys like my stream, if you like the free content that I make, I got a lot of cool stuff on my Gumroad. There's a link down below where you can check it out. A lot of cool courses. A couple people, I think just yesterday, were asking about how do I render characters, how do I set up stuff. And in this tutorial, I go through the process of sculpting a stylized and appealing female face from beginning to end, and at the end we render it. So I said you could get it in there, and for some people, you might not want the entire course. So instead, you can just get this rendering and keyshot course that I just split off. It's literally just a section exhumed from that course, and what's included in that is my render scene in Keyshot, my environment, lights, materials, all that is set up and ready to go for you, and then you just have to follow along with the process if you're interested in that. So I just put that on late last night, so that's available now if you guys want that. There's also some mentorship, some other courses in here if you guys are interested in that. So that's Gumroad/Follygon. Definitely check it out. I would appreciate it greatly. All right. Nginx is the champ, the hype master over here with 1 HP. Kaion had 1 HP left. RIP. RIP in peace. Let's see. We need 7 more chatters for the next fight. I'll try to join in here. I'll see if I can help out. Now we should only need 6. But yes, 5 more. There we go. If we can get everybody in here for a last large bout, that would be fun. We'll see if it's possible. If not, I'm gonna be super disappointed in all of you. You can't type a single letter in the chat. Do this for me. Do this one thing for me. I never ask for anything from you guys. Yes, just make them feel bad. Does your Gumroad's Head tutorial use the same process you are going to use for the Witch Girl here? Let's see. I would say similar. I don't know. Let's see. Let me look at it. Some things will definitely be similar in terms of approach, but if you want the, I don't know, let's see. What else do I include in this? I don't even remember now. I would say my process for approaching everything is a little bit different every time. You know, I sculpt the way I sculpt. So if you want to hang out here on stream and follow along that way, by all means, that's absolutely fine. But if you want to help me out, buying the courses obviously helps me out. I definitely appreciate it. Thank you for the follow there, Commander. Appreciate it. 4 more chatters. 4 more chatters. But yeah, buying the courses helps me out. It's all real-time footage. Some of it's sped up towards once it gets repetitive a little bit later in the process. But yeah, I don't know. I'd say it's kind of the same, but tackling stuff like hair is going to be always different. Clothing might be a little bit different. I also talk a little bit about setting up some hard surface modeling with ZBrush to create the base stand that she's on for 3D printing that. And then I talk about some post-processing effects so Keyshot render, of course, post-processing in Photoshop, setting up your render layers, all that's in there. And it's going to be a lot faster than we're working on here, just because I'm not trying to talk on stream and everything else. But yeah, processes are always going to be a little bit different, but it's still me doing it, so it's up to you. It's up to you. Waiting for 4 more chatters. Can we get 4 more chatters in here before we call it a day? The last fight. If not, I'm gonna have to skip on past. We'll have to skip on past. They're scared of you. They are. I think they are scared of you, Nginx. All right. Well, I don't think it's gonna happen. I don't think it's gonna happen. That's all right. That's all right. We'll skip on ahead and let's see. I know you're ready. I know you're ready to kick butt. I see you poking around. Let's see. There we go. 1v1 it up again. Back to the 1v1. We got Eon versus Pretzel, our music app. Pretzel has literally never won a single fight, thankfully. And hopefully it stays that way. I don't think Pretzel deserves the W. And Eon, I'm gonna need you to really get in here and kick some butt. I'm counting on you. I am counting on you. That was a really strong punch. Pretzel's going for the kill here. Pretzel finally wants to win a match. Alright. While that's happening, I'm just going to jump around my model and clean up a couple of things that are sticking out to me. Oh no. It's very close. Ooh, Eon. Don't lose this. Don't lose the entire chat is counting on you right now. Ooh, one more hit is gonna decide it, I think. I wanna watch this. Ooh, okay. Alright. 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 Oh my gosh. Don't let... Oh my god, no! Eon! The hell? You let Pretzel win! Pretzel's never won. Ooh, and I'm in this with good old Ethan face with a spear. Eon, I'm disappointed. I thought you were stronger than that. Thought you were stronger. We just ganged up on the Pretzel out there, took our revenge, feels sweet. I can't believe Pretzel won a game. What the hell? Frosty just one-shotted me. I guess weapons might have got nerfed. Weapons used to be super strong. Not anymore, I guess. That was a good fight, though. That was a good one. I don't think there's any way we're gonna get 5 more people to join in the chat if we couldn't do it earlier. So I'm gonna have to say that Frosty is our championes for today. It was a good one. It was a good fight. Good fight, guys. Proud of you. So proud. Folly Dad is proud. Whoops. Every time I close the app for that, it opens up my browser for some reason. It's very annoying. Let's see here. Do a little bit more tweaking to the body. Game is pay to win. Look, I'm not saying it's pay to win, but I've heard from a reliable source that if you buy something on my Gumroad, you might come out on top in the next fight. Yeah, I don't know how true that is. I can't speak to the reliability of that, but I'm totally kidding. But if you can't purchase anything on my Gumroad, it's really not a big deal. If you could even share it in any way, I would always appreciate anything like that, or even share the stream here. I appreciate that a lot. That helps the channel out a lot. Trying to connect these legs a little bit better. Right now they're not lining up the way I need them to in the front. Trying to get that line of the iliac crest flown back here for our hips. It's a little bit better. This is the line that I'm talking about. Ooh, that was terrible. Let's clean that up with our mask pen. Another reason I turn off perspective from orthographic, if you make a mask like that, it's not going to be accurate because the perspective offsets your model and then you mask everything wrong, and it's just annoying. Annoying. Let's clean up this line. There we go. It's a little bit closer to what we're looking for. Let's see. Send Visa, and I'll buy everything from your Gumroad. Just, I don't know where you live, but I'll stick it in the mail today. We'll have it here soon. You can count on me. Let's pull this line up from the hips, just to get a little bit of a plane break coming up here. Whoops. There's my lasso. Right about here, looking for that plane break, that slight hit. And a little bit of a taper in here. I'll have to fix this surface as well, but this will help just fine, I think. This shape a little bit better. Try to look at this from the top view and from the bottom as I try to fix that, how round that is looking there. Try to get this hard kind of plane change, and then we'll knock it back some. Let's see. How are we doing on time, guys? I'm gonna have to go grab some lunch here in a little bit. I'll finish messing with these hips, and then I think I'm gonna bounce on out of here. Getting there, getting there. It's always hard to pinch in any area where it's meeting with a little triangle shape like that. Alright. Well, I think that's going to be a good place for us to stop today. We've made a lot of good progress. Let's load in. As always, we like to look at our... I lost it. Where'd it go? There it is. We like to look at our last model, kind of where we started at the top of the stream and kind of go from there. So here we are. Let's stick this on our canvas. Voila. And our new one here. So we've made a lot of changes here, cleaning a lot of stuff up. It's a slow process sculpting, but one step at a time as always, and we'll get a little bit farther each day. So I'm definitely liking the direction of the face now that we've started to block out a lot of those planes. We'll be looking probably more at the face in our next stream tonight. That or attaching these legs to the body really quick won't be too tough. And maybe even getting back into the arms some more since those are still split off and need some help. There's a lot of work that we need to do. Head, hands, we haven't even looked at the hands, right? So there's a lot of stuff, but yeah, good progress today. Thank you guys for coming and hanging out on the stream. I appreciate it. I appreciate everybody for just coming and hanging out. And the next stream will be tonight at 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So if you're in the US, probably live on the East Coast. I think like, what, 60% of people live in the Eastern Time Zone or something in the US? Something crazy like that. But yeah, I hope you guys have a great rest of your day, and I hope to see you guys tonight. Have a great day or night, I guess, wherever you are in the world. See you guys.